All right, so we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Woodland Pools and to another Cardano Q&A live stream. So a couple things we want to go over today. I'll probably spend most of the time going through how you can claim your HOSKY tokens, but there's a few things that I wanted to show you. If you are joining us live, let us know where you're joining from. And if you're watching on the replay, let us know in the comments down below. It's always really fun to see where everybody is joining us from. If you are joining us also on the replay, I'll be adding chapters down below so you can jump to the different sections as we get to them. Awesome. Glad that's working. So let's take a look at what we're going to look at today. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on the Cardano Summit and this hackathon that's happening. Then we were going to take a look at how you can claim your HOSKY tokens if you are delegated to a HOSKY rug pool now that ASPEN has crossed the epic boundary where we can get those. Some cool updates on an older article that's been going around lately on different kinds of consensus mechanisms that'll be kind of fun to look at. And then a quick update on adaHandle's personalization. So before we jump into all of that, let's say some hellos. We got a lot of folks that were waiting to join here today. I suspect from all of the PFPs, we got a lot of the HOSKY community. So first, for 2 weeks in a row was CBD Suddy Kaka. Hello, Suddy, good to see you. Scooby Dude, LFG, good to see you, man. Scooby Dude and Woodsy are both folks that are in our ASPEN Pools, ASPEN Stake Pool chat in the HOSKY Discord. And we'll take a look at the HOSKY Discord here in a second. Checking in from Alberta. Nice. I've not been to Alberta yet. I bet you it's beautiful this time of year. And I don't know if rain works here, man, but yeah, that'll work in Discord. Hello, boys and girls. CBD Suddy, Scooby-Doo calling in from the United States, and Mark Byers, trusty Mark Byers, always joining us from the future. Hello, and Tuesday morning in Sydney, Australia. Are you going to Rare Evo? I knew you were going to the summit, but I didn't realize you were going to Rare Evo. Let me know. That'd be really cool. If you're stateside, let me know when you get here. I'd be happy to show you around warm, sunny Colorado. Suddy calling in from Oklahoma, and Accelerate Profits from Tampa, Florida. Nice, man. I bet you it's really hot in Florida right now. Cool. So Scooby, Woodsy, 56 Hope Road, everybody's here today. Cool. So let's go ahead and jump in. Since everybody's here, let's go ahead and get started. For everybody else that's joining us, let us know where you're joining from and any questions that you have, and then we will dig into those as we get through it. So first thing today, for those that are going to the summit, there's a hackathon I wanted to bring you guys attention to because I just saw an announcement about this. If we look at the hackathon FAQs, here we go. So they have a bunch of information about it here, but you can find out more. The reason I wanted to show it to you guys is actually if you want to go to the summit, if you participate in this hackathon, the winner is going to get $10,000 plus all of their travel and accommodations covered for $5,000, up to $5,000 to get them to Dubai to the Cardano Summit. So if you are an aspiring Cardano developer and you want to go to the summit but you can't afford it, this hackathon is a really cool opportunity. Here is some details about the hackathon, and as always, I'll share all of these links down below. But basically, it's going to be the first ever Cardano Summit Hackathon, and it is challenging participants to develop tech-driven solutions for the theme of transparency for governance. So it's going to be a worldwide hackathon. It's going to be held online, and then the winner is going to be announced during the gala dinner. And this hackathon is actually pretty cool. Is supported by Demeter and TXPipe. So we talked about TXPipe and Demeter Run a lot on this channel, and the whole idea with them is to be able to build and deploy your dApp on a single platform and no need to set up your own node or infrastructure. You just go to Demeter.run and it's all just up and running, which is incredible. I think this is kind of understated sometimes. Like if you have ever tried to, or you have worked with Cardano infrastructure in the past, you know, if you have anything you want to submit to the chain, the prerequisite to that is having a fully running and synced Cardano node. And getting that up and running can be kind of a pain. And that syncing process can take over a day the first time. With Demeter Run, you literally go to their site, click, here's the things that I need. One of them is a synced Cardano node. And in less than 5 minutes, they're like, all right, here's your node that they connected you to. It's up and running. So cool. Just wanted to bring that to your attention about this hackathon. If you want to go to Dubai but can't afford it and you are a developer. And always want to give a plug for Demeter and TXPipe, who are was one of the best infrastructure projects from one of the best infrastructure companies running right now on Cardano. Let's do a couple more hellos here. Jacob Bar, good evening. Awesome, cool, hell yeah. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing you when you get to Colorado. Yeah, let me know. Send me a DM on Twitter or something when you get in, and maybe we can meet up beforehand. And if not, I'll give you some tips on what to do around here. Accelerate. All right, let's go, Scooby Dude. Couldn't hack out of a paper bag, but that's okay. We're gonna learn some cool stuff today together, anyways. So. With that, what I suspect a lot of our Hosky folks are here to support is let's take a look at how we can now claim our Hosky rug pool tokens. So as most of you know, the ASPEN stake pool as of this last epoch boundary is now eligible to claim Hosky tokens. We were selected to be part of the rug pools maybe about 10 days ago or so. But now's the first time where if you're an ASPEN delegator, you can actually get your worthless Hosky tokens. So I will say, I'm going to go through just the most basics of how to get this stuff. But for any additional information that you want on additional bonus multipliers and all these other things, I highly recommend that you join the Hosky Discord, which you can find a link to right here. And some of the people that are in our chat right now are some MVPs of the Hosky community who know way more than I do about a lot of this stuff. And Woodsy and some of these other guys were getting me up to speed on some of these multipliers and things. But let's take a look at how we can actually come and claim our Hosky tokens. So the first thing that you're going to want to probably do is join the Hosky Discord. And when you're there, you can come to here to the rug pool announcements. And let me get this thing out of the way. And Vegas, every epoch, puts up two different sheets, two different uploads here. One is about the rewards, but this is for the specific epoch that we're coming out of, an informative PDF on the current standing of the rewards for all the different wallets done by stake address. So what you're going to want to do is come to the rug pool announcements, get that PDF, then go to your wallet, like your Eternal wallet, and you'll want to copy your stake key for the wallet you have delegated to your rug pool. So now what you can do is, so here is that PDF of all of the rewards for all the different wallets. So this one here is my Woodland Pools wallet. So I've not yet claimed a reward, so we're going to look at this together. I'm going to do a find here for that stake address. And we can see here, let me see if I can zoom this in. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we can see here the amount of Hosky that I earned for Epoch 429, and then here, the total Hosky that is currently available to be claimed for this wallet. So this wallet right now has about 1.3 million Hosky available. And so I want to point out an important caveat of this whole thing. You do not need to claim your Hosky every single epoch, but once your claimable Hosky, see here we have 1.3 million, once your claimable Hosky hits 25 million, it resets and starts back at 0. So this is to incentivize you to make sure that you're actually getting the stuff out, and that also too, so that the Hosky isn't just being wasted and held permanently like a bank account for somebody. If it's not being used, it'll go out to other people. So we see here, this person's here is at about 18 million. They're getting pretty close. So if you don't want to necessarily spend the transaction fees of doing it every single epoch, you can do it every few epochs, but make sure that you're regularly checking this spreadsheet for your stake address to make sure you don't go over 25 million. Okay, so I see here that my wallet is going to get about 1.3 million Hosky tokens. So now let's take a look at how we do this process. Okay, cool. Scooby Dude says that I'm currently not lying yet. And that for you guys in the chat, let me know if I say anything incorrect here. Call me out, and we're doing it live here, so we'll learn together if I misstate something. So now the next thing we need to do, we've joined the Discord. We've gotten the spreadsheet downloaded. We know how much we're expecting to get back. The next thing you want to do is come to hosky.io. Now here's one thing that when I first came here, before I was a rug pool, I had trouble with this where you scroll down to here, and here's the rug pool bowl where you come to claim your Hosky tokens. I was clicking here and it wasn't doing anything, and actually Hosky himself helped me out with this. If you're using Brave, you need to turn your shield off here for Brave, and when the page reloads, now you can click on here, and then now this pop-up will give you the information as a reminder of what you need to do to claim your Hosky tokens. One thing here that Vegas called me out on here is make sure that you are getting from the rug pool bowl and not from the OG bowl, okay? So we are going to make sure that we are not getting it from this doggy bowl. You're getting it from a rug pool bowl because that's where you're getting your free tokens from. You're going to click here, and here's all the information that we need to be able to claim our Hosky tokens. I'm going to also link down below this guide on Hosky. We looked at this a little bit a few weeks ago. This has way more deep dive stuff than we're going to get into today. All different kinds of like multipliers that you can get on how you can get more Hosky if you want, depending on certain NFTs with certain traits or whatever else. All that information's in here. You can get some more information on that in Discord. And then if you also join the ASPEN pool, let's find it. The ASPEN pool chat here. Some of these guys that are in the chat right now are super helpful. But let's look at the simplest way to do this. We're going to come here and we see that what we need to do is we need to send exactly 2 ADA to rug pool, which resolves to this address. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to come here to my Eternal wallet. I'm going to go to send. And let me actually unlock my ledger while we're at it. All right. Cool. So now I'm going to come here to send. I want to send this to rug pool. And let's have this resolve. And then we're going to send exactly 2 ADA. All right, so let's go to send, and we see our transaction summary. Something, by the way, just something that I was doing when I was testing this earlier that I think is probably worth checking. If you ever want to check, by the way, that you're sending it to like the right place, sometimes what I'll do is I'll like copy this here, this rug pool resolved address, and I'll just copy it, and then I'll do like a find on this page. So I'll see, okay, yeah, cool. It's exactly the same. It matches as the one that it's supposed to be. So going to rug pool, that's the correct address, exactly 2 ADA. So let's go ahead and sign this and pay the transaction fee and have that go out. So what we're going to do here. All right, great. So that's on its way. So while that's going, a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. Let's come back because this is going to take a second to go through because we need to send it. The rug pool needs to handle it, check all the how much Hosky you're supposed to get back, and then send it back. So that's going to take a second. A couple other things I wanted to show here is, here we go. So you're going to send exactly 2 ADA. You're going to get about 1.5 ADA back along with your Hosky. So you're basically just covering the transaction costs and then a fraction of ADA that stays with them. So ways that you can maximize this, right? You can keep an eye on this and wait until it's getting close to 25 million. Because if you do it every single epic for just like 1 million or so, or if you wait, in my case, like 20 or more epics, and then do it when it's close to 25 million, it costs you the exact same. A couple of other things. This is going to go out and come back here in a few minutes. So now this send is on chain. We're going to wait for it to come back. But a couple of other things to keep in mind. The rug pools are not necessarily always up. We can see here, Vegas makes announcements on when the pools are up or down or whatever. They're open for a period of time at every epic boundary. And keep in mind that when the pools go down, you don't lose your ADA or anything, but you're not going to get them back right away. So yeah, here we go. If you want, so right now they're up. There's going to be the midnight in the United States, 7 a.m. UTC. It's going to go back down again. If you were to send it after that time, you'll still be accumulating your Hosky. Just what'll happen is at the next epic boundary, when the pools are spun back up again, that's when you're going to get your Hosky back. Quick tip: save the rug pool handle to the wallet after the verifying against. Save the rug pool handle to the wallet after verifying the address against the website, and then yeah. So that's what we're doing is we're sending it to the handle exactly, and then double checking. Yeah. Oh, right. Sure. Oh, actually, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. If you got junk NFTs and things that you don't want, because, for example, we talked about a while back about UTXOs and how NFTs and other assets have to have a min UTXO that you send along with them. Yeah, if you've got junk NFTs and things that you don't want in your wallet, you would have to pay to send them out anyway. So you technically could send any garbage NFTs that you don't want to the rug pool address as well, and then that will be sent along and out of your wallet. Very cool. All right, when PDF? I don't know, man. You tell me. What PDF are we waiting on? Oh, hey, Hosky. Don't do that. Okay, so I take that back. Pretend we didn't say that, and don't do what Mr. Jesus said. What's going on, Hosky? I was just telling folks how you were just helping me out with some of this stuff. So yes, don't do that. But you guys do have a burn address, don't you? Let me know what's the burn address that you guys set up a while ago that people can use for that. Let's see if this is coming yet. So this is going to take a second. So yeah, like I said, additional details on how you can get more multipliers and stuff. Oh, here we go. Thanks. Cardano burn is the address that you can send NFTs to if you don't want them anymore. Cool. So some additional stuff here. Is this going to zoom in for me? Doesn't appear. Oh yeah, great. Additional NFTs that will multiply how much Hosky you get are the cash grab NFTs, gnome skis, and these as well. And Hosky says, personal recommendation, send the NFT. Oh yeah, sure. So if you have NFTs you don't want, you can send them to a centralized exchange. They'll credit you the full ADA amount and keep the NFT. But of course, this is sending it to your own address on a centralized exchange. You can't just send it to a random one. But that's a good idea too. If you got a bunch of NFTs you don't want, you can send them to your own address, your corresponding address on a centralized exchange, and then you'll get the ADA. But since they don't support native assets, the junk NFTs you want will just kind of go away. Okay, so... oh, look at that. That just came in. Sweet. So here is our... so let's come back to our spreadsheet we were looking at. And we saw here that what we were expecting was... oh, that's... hold on, let me come back here and grab my stake address. We'll come back to our transactions here. So we were expecting that I was going to get 1.3 million Hosky. And then we see, in this instance anyway, Hosky did not rug. And I got back my 1.56 ADA with my 1.3 million Hosky. So cool. So really straightforward process, really, really easy. That actually is my first time, like today is actually my first time ever claiming Hosky tokens. The first time I've ever gotten them from a rug pool is from ASPEN now that our value is at 0. So that's pretty cool. And here we go. A gnome is worth 15 cash grabs. Yeah, so Woodsy is an MVP with this stuff. He just knows all the details. So feel free to ask him. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah. So, you know, whatever. We had to go to 0 sometime. I'm glad that we could do it with everybody together here. And we can go to 0 live together on the stream. And now I've got 1.3 million Hosky tokens. I'm now a Hosky whale. Fantastic. Cool. So... with that, let me know, guys, in the chat, if there's anything else worth covering. I don't want to get into too much detail about the Hosky stuff. Like I said, I'm going to share this below that has a ton of great information. And the other thing, too, I got to say, is that the Hosky community has been absolutely wonderful in terms of just sharing information and getting me up to speed. Oh, man, I think I'm getting blown up here again. Perfect. Thanks for that, guys. Really appreciate it. Well, this is a double-edged sword of being in this community is... here, for example, if I turn this on, you'll hear my my thing blowing up. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close this because I'm being spammed with notifications now. So, you know, thanks for that. Fantastic. So this is, you know, what you get to look forward to if you join the Hosky community is this kind of spam. Great. But I do appreciate and recognize that when they're not raining spam on you like this and blowing up your notifications, it is a very nice community. I promise. Okay. No offense to everybody in the Hosky community, but I'm going to go ahead and close this so it's not just blowing me up throughout the rest of my live stream. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So we're going to get rid of that. And so with that, I want to take a look at something a little bit more technical. Since now we've been worthless for a while, I want to take something a little more technical if that was kind of cool. But before we do that, and since we were just talking about delegators and rewards for delegators and stuff, I wanted to stop for a second and say a huge thank you and welcome to all of our newest delegators. We truly appreciate your support, and we're so excited to be on this journey with you. Let's keep growing together. And for those of you joining us for worthless Hosky tokens, let's keep growing to 0. But for all of you that have joined us just in the past week, really, really appreciate it. I always say it every week, and I always mean it. It's absolutely awesome to see the support coming from the community for the stuff that we do here. And that being said, if you do appreciate the work that we do here and all this educative stuff that we do on the channel and walking people through topics from as worthless as Hosky to as technical as blockchain basics, the best way you can support the channel is by delegating to the ASPEN stake pool. So one more time, thanks again to everybody. Really, really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on. So with that, this is an article that came out a little while ago, but it was recently circulating again from IOG about different kinds of consensus mechanisms for blockchains. And I thought this was kind of a cool thing that we can just take a look at a high level. I'll link this so you can read through the whole article yourself. But I thought it was kind of neat because, you know, in Cardano, a lot of us are familiar with proof of stake. And because of Bitcoin, a lot of people know about proof of work. But this article calls out a couple of other cool consensus mechanisms that I thought would be kind of interesting to look at. So one thing that Charles actually covered a while back that I thought was a really good way to explain this, is that if we think about all different kinds of blockchains, whether they're proof of stake, proof of work, or anything else, if you think about it, all blockchains have sort of the same 3 steps that they go through. The first one is the chain figures out who's going to be like the slot leader that broadcasts the next block that has a group of transactions in it. Then from there, everybody agrees that, okay, this is the next block. They all check it independently. And then from there, it gets added to the chain, and then we kind of just sort of like move forward from there. If you think about it, of those 3 main steps, the only step that's different from one blockchain to another is only the first one, the consensus mechanism of how the chain determines who is going to be the leader that makes the next block. For every blockchain, after that, the whole point of blockchains and being trustless and distributed is that every validator for step 2 checks to make sure that the block was valid, that the person was allowed to go when they said they were, and that the transactions inside were all appropriate. And then separately, that third step of then broadcasting it out to each other and everybody adding it to the chain, that's all the same every single time. So if you think about it, across all different blockchains, the only difference is just step 1 on how a chain determines who is going to be that next slot leader. So let's take a look at what some of those are. So proof of work, a lot of people are familiar with because it is what came with Bitcoin, which was obviously the first blockchain to ever come out. As we know, here we go. Proof of work relies on competition between computers or miners to solve moderately hard puzzles. So what's interesting about this is that the puzzle itself is not necessarily hard to solve. What's hard about it is just sort of figuring out what the answer is. I was actually thinking, like, maybe in the future, let me know what you guys think. We could maybe dig into this a little bit more and get even a little bit more technical about what is the problem that these different validators are all trying to solve. But long story short, what you've got is across the world, all of these Bitcoin mining farms or any proof of work, what they're doing is they're all racing to see who can be the first one to solve this cryptographic puzzle, right? Now, the way the proof of work is, one of the many things that you see with cryptography, you see this all the time, is with cryptography, a lot of times, it's things that are hard to figure out, but very easy to prove. And so what happens is there's a puzzle that needs to get solved. Everyone's racing to solve it for that specific block. Once it's been solved, however, that leader that says, okay, yeah, I'm the one that figured it out and sends it out to the rest of the blockchain. Once that's been solved, everybody else can pretty much immediately check it and be like, okay, yeah, you got it. That was it. That was the right answer. And then from there, everyone just moves forward and starts fighting again for the very next one. So the advantage is that attacking a proof of work chain would require controlling 51% of the network's computing power. And it says here a process that's too expensive for hackers. I will say, we put an asterisk on this. It's something that's too expensive for large chains. For smaller chains, obviously, the financial amount taken to do this is not that much, which is why you have things like Ethereum Classic, which has been 51% attacked, I think, more than once at this point. So this is really an economy of scale thing where that disadvantage is only once you get past a certain size. And the disadvantages that we know of: high energy consumption, expensive and specialized hardware. And one thing that I would add also to this disadvantages thing is, if you think about it, with proof of work, all you need to do is just stand up your nodes and say, okay, we're going to do this work to figure this thing out. But there's nothing about your hardware that is dedicated to that chain. So for example, for a smaller network like Ethereum Classic or something, you could have someone who has a huge mining farm on like Bitcoin or whatever. They could turn all of their machines towards Ethereum Classic, do a 51% attack on Ethereum Classic, crash that to the ground, and then just boot their machines back up with Bitcoin protocol and just go back to work on Bitcoin. And they could just maliciously take down a chain and then go back to work on another one. And it doesn't really cost them anything other than just the time that they were doing the attack itself. So that's another thing that is something that's tricky about proof of work, is that there is no disadvantage to making the attack other than just the energy that you spend. So then we got proof of stake. And then I will say this article calls out proof of stake and delegated proof of stake as two different things. I will say this is kind of a spectrum here, because, for example, what I would say is that with Cardano, when you're delegating to a stake pool, right? You're literally delegating to a stake pool. You're saying, okay, the stake pool is going to validate the transactions, not me, the delegator, right? So you are delegating your power to do that. So I would say Cardano is closer to a delegated proof of stake. But here in this example, they put Cardano in just a regular proof of stake. I would say pure proof of stake is something closer to like what Algorand is doing, where every individual can be a validator without needing stake pools. But again, that's kind of a gray area. So proof of stake is a newer, less energy intensive, and more sustainable consensus mechanism than proof of work. So through proof of stake, holders of a blockchain's asset can participate in securing and validating on-chain transactions by delegating their stake to a validator. See what I mean? How even here they say delegating, but they don't call it delegated proof of stake. So we have different chains that can do that. Advantages, validators don't need expensive equipment. Proof of stake is highly efficient. On some chains, you have to lock up your stuff. This doesn't apply to Cardano. This is one thing that we talk about all the time, about multiple pools can be spun up by the same actor. And so if you value decentralization and stuff like that, you should delegate with single stake pool operators, which is how, by the way, the whole rug pool thing started, and credit to Hosky on setting that up and pushing for that kind of decentralization. On some chains like Ethereum, they're slashing. We don't have that problem on Cardano. And then this is also true that in proof of stake, a lot of people can rely on validators that are hosted by cloud services. So for example, we have a lot of people that are on Amazon Web Services, and this can be a problem. The other thing about proof of stake too is that since the way that you do it is based on the stake that you're holding, the other sort of issue of proof of stake is it's sort of a chicken or the egg problem, because you have to have stake held in your wallet to delegate to a pool, but then how do you get to that point? So basically, most proof of stake protocols had to come from proof of work first to get the coins out there, so then they're spread out enough that people can delegate them. One thing I will say is an advantage of proof of stake that's not mentioned here is the exact opposite of what I was just describing for proof of work. Remember how I said with proof of work that somebody with a large enough computing power could just point all of that at a certain chain, attack that chain to kill its value, and then go back to their preferred chain and start working there? This is because for any kind of money, any kind of like anything with value, the value comes from the notion of scarcity, right? Otherwise, everybody would just make themselves the leader every time. So with the proof of work protocol, the scarcity comes from the amount of energy required and computing power required to win this puzzle to be the next one in line. With proof of stake, the scarcity comes from the holding the actual asset itself. So as we know, pools that are larger, let me take a step back, that in proof of stake, instead of everybody fighting over who's going to get the next block, the network, in Cardano we use Ouroboros as a consensus protocol, the network divvies out blocks to different pools and says, okay, you're going to go at this time, you go at this time, okay, you're going to go again here, okay, this pool goes at this time. And the way that it determines that is by how much is staked to each pool. So the scarcity, therefore, comes from how much ADA a pool can get delegated to it. And then, of course, the delegation to that pool is by how much is being held by the delegators. And then the scarcity around how much is being held by the delegators is by actually buying the ADA or the other coin to delegate to that pool. So whereas in proof of work, the scarcity comes from the computing power required, with proof of stake, the scarcity is the asset itself, and that it is hard and expensive to acquire that asset to delegate to a pool to make it the leader more often. So if you think about it, from a game theory standpoint, an advantage that proof of stake has over proof of work is that in proof of work, you just take your mining rig, point it at something else, crash that chain, and go back to your own. With proof of stake, if you were to do a 51% attack on proof of stake, if you think about this, do the math in your head, in order to do a 51% attack in a proof of stake network, that would mean that you personally would need to have more of the actual financial stake in that network. So for a Cardano, you need to have 51% of all the ADA on the network, which means you would need to have more ADA in your wallet for the pools that you're delegated to than everyone else in the network combined. So not only is that hard to do, but if you think about, like, follow this all the way to its conclusion, if you were then to do a 51% attack and attack the network, then by definition, since you're the one holding the most ADA more than anyone else on the network combined, then by definition, you're the one who loses the most when that network's value goes down. So from a game theory standpoint, you are severely disincentivized for wanting to do a 51% attack on a proof of stake network, because by definition, you lose more than everybody else on the network combined. So that, in my mind, is actually a huge benefit of the game theory of proof of stake. And I wanted to point that out because I've been thinking about that for a long time, but we haven't really talked about it on the channel before. So that's kind of a cool thing. Delegated proof of stake is, again, just more of a delegated and spread out version where voters stake and then have to elect delegates. But again, this is kind of a sliding scale between the two. But what I wanted to show is kind of some of these other less popular ones. So proof of authority is one where it's like proof of stake, but instead you specifically, like the network actually authorizes specific validators. And this is usually for ones that are not a public blockchain, but usually this is better for private blockchains. So VeChain is an example. JP Morgan has their own internal blockchain where they use this. And the reason why you'd want to do this is it's much more energy efficient and way faster because it's only nodes that you've approved. So also the consensus is a lot quicker for finality because it's less nodes to do it between. But the disadvantage of that, right, is that it requires a small number of approved validators, so it's not decentralized. And becoming a validator usually takes a lot of influence, whether financial or otherwise. So this is good for closed systems. It's worth calling out that it exists, but it's not like something that you would see on a major public system. Another one is proof of capacity, or also known as proof of storage. So some of these like Chai, Signum, Spacemint, and Storage do this. So this is one where instead of like how much is delegated or how much work you're doing, it's literally you're providing hard disk space for people to store stuff, and you're being rewarded and paid for storing things for those people. And then this last one here that IOG's been talking about more and more, and this is kind of why I wanted to show this, because I think that we're going to see that we're going to see that I think this is something that Charles has mentioned a couple times in passing is Cardano right now is a proof of stake protocol, but something that he's mentioned a few times is that I think the plans are that eventually in future generations for Cardano to become a like hybrid consensus protocol where some blocks are done by proof of stake, some might be done by proof of work or other things. And one of the proof of work things that we can do that's kind of interesting is this new concept of proof of useful work. Because if you think about this proof of work that like Bitcoin or something does, what you're just doing here is you're just solving some arbitrary cryptographic puzzle. And then when you solve it, that means, okay, you get to go first. But it would be kind of interesting if you think about it. What if instead of solving some arbitrary cryptographic puzzle, what if the consensus mechanism was that we did it that, where is it? Here we go. What if we did it that at least some of the computational energy was used to solve complex real-world problems? So for example, DNA sequencing, which is hugely computationally expensive, distributed computing, protein unfolding, urban planning, a lot of these things that the people that do these things have to have these huge servers and these massive buildings of servers to solve these problems. What if we could have some of these distributed blockchains that are all doing this proof of work anyway? What if we can point them at some of these hard problems? So it's kind of a cool idea of where this can go. A disadvantage, of course, is that you require a continuous stream of complex problems, and if you don't have enough problems to solve, then you're no longer being useful. But this is a really interesting idea that I hope we hear more about, especially as Cardano moves forward and potentially goes to a hybrid consensus model. The other piece with that, one other piece that's been talked about a lot is, and I'm not going to get into detail about it, but I want to make you aware that this exists, is non-interactive proofs of proof of work, or they're called NIPoPoWs. And so the idea is a non-interactive proof of work is a short standalone string that a computer program can inspect to verify that an event happened on a proof of work based blockchain without connecting to the blockchain network. So a NIPoPoW is non-interactive. It doesn't actually have to interact with that other chain, and it is a proof that some proof of work actually happened. So I need to dig into this more myself, but I wanted to just make you aware that this exists because this is another thing that Charles has been talking about, that as Cardano moves to a hybrid consensus mechanism, that we might see a mix of proof of stake, useful proof of work, NIPoPoWs with other chains. And actually, NIPoPoW, you can think of a NIPoPoW as like a set of useful proof of work because you're doing proofs of a different chain. So kind of cool how if we start looking ahead at some of the other things that we might see on different kinds of consensus mechanisms. Hey, thanks, man. Haven't lied yet about HOSKY claiming stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah, so Study was talking about proof of stake. If you were to attack your own proof of stake network, yeah, mutually assured destruction because you're the one holding all of that stuff. And Zanji, you're down for proof of storage, or or yeah, you're gonna do either proof of work or proof of storage. Very good. Cool, sweet. So we are doing great on time. Originally, I was going to take this last part of our chat here to go through adaHandle's personalization. So first of all, for those that are not aware, adaHandle has launched personalization, which actually even just this landing here gives you an idea of what it looks like, where you can go from your standard SIP25 based NFT, and then from there upgrade it to a SIP68 NFT that can be personalized and changed dynamically versus staying static. I was going to walk through the whole process today, but when I was doing a test run with my ledger, I was getting an error, and I went into the adaHandle Discord, and Conrad and the guys immediately got back to me, so credit to them. Those guys are really on top of it with this launch, and let me know that hardware wallet support is not yet up and running, but it should be in the next few days. So for those that are looking to personalize their adaHandles, you can do it today if you're using a software wallet. And then for those that are like myself that are going to do it on a hardware wallet, that within the next few days or week or so should be up and running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until it's fully running with hardware wallets. And then the same as how we walked through how to claim HOSKY tokens all the way through from start to finish, we will do the same and go all the way through and show how you can upgrade your SIP25 adaHandle to SIP68 and then get it fully personalized. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because it is live right now. Software wallet folks can do this today, and then hardware wallet folks, I will put out an announcement when it's up and running, and we'll do it live together. Cool. I don't see any other questions. I was able to keep up with it pretty good today. Man, we got a lot of them today, though. That was fun. So with that, yeah, I think we're pretty good on time. Let's go ahead and I think we'll just call it there. For those that are joining us again, the best way to support the channel if you want to support the work that we do here is by delegating to the ASPEN stake pool. Next week, we've got the Rare Evo conference, so I may or may not be able to go live, but I'll keep you guys posted. If not, we'll try and maybe do something from the conference itself. But I'll let you guys know the best way to keep up with that is to follow us on Twitter. Yeah, if you want to support us, delegate the Aspen stake pool, get some worthless HOSKY tokens in by delegating to a rug pool, and let us know down below if anything that I missed or any updates that we need to cover. And if nothing else, we will see you guys next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.